Hello and welcome to episode 92 of the Giddy Knits podcast. As always, I'm Helen and I'm coming to you from Dundee in Scotland, where I live with my husband Tom and my two boys, Arthur, who is 7, and Jasper, who is 4. Today is Sunday the 11th of April, and this is my crafty podcast where I chat about whatever projects I've been working on, mostly knitting, a bit of crochet, and occasionally a few other crafts and things thrown in. For anyone that is new and doesn't know who I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns, and welcome. Welcome to everyone. Welcome back if you're a regular viewer, and welcome if you're checking out the podcast for the first time. I hope you enjoy it. All the show notes and details of where you can find me kind of elsewhere on the internet, where my website is, all of that kind of stuff can be found down underneath this video, as well as links to our Mighty Networks community where you can come and chat and get to know people, share your projects and stuff like that. And I don't know what else is new. Oh, the other thing I have set up is a Ko-fi account, or a Ko-fi account, however you want to say it. So for anyone that wants to support the podcast or my business, but in a non-purchasing yarn kind of way, I know a number of us have large yarn stashes and don't always want to purchase more yarn, and that's completely understandable. Then you can buy me a coffee, as it's called. I don't drink coffee, but I haven't got the option to change it to another beverage. But basically the concept of a Ko-fi account is that you donate the same amount of money as it would cost to buy a cup of coffee. So basically it's a very small donation that just kind of, every little helps, isn't it? Anyway, I hate talking about this kind of thing. It is not required. I do not expect it in any way. I just had a couple of people reach out to me recently to say that they were wanting to continue to support my business and wanting to continue to support the podcast, but they didn't want to purchase yarn because they already had more than enough yarn and they didn't want to buy more yarn. So I opened a Ko-fi account as a way for people to be able to support the podcast and support the business without buying yarn. Any money that gets donated to my Ko-fi account will be used, it will be channeled back into the podcast and back into my business in a way that it will be used for kind of podcast prizes. It will be used for postage, so I can still do international giveaways and sort of prizes for international people and things like that. If there's extra and stuff, then it will get squirreled away to kind of help towards the costs of me eventually in the future maybe building some kind of dye studio a little bit better than the garage that I'm currently in. Anyway, all of that to basically say the links are down below. Right, what have I got for you in this episode? Let's start some sensible stuff, shall we? So I'm going to start off with a couple of announcements. We've got some giveaway winners, some prize winners from the Giddy Yarns Make Along to announce. I've also got a giveaway that I'd like to talk about. I've got a finished object to share with you, some works in progress, a few new cast-ons actually. Did I bring my blanket up? I did bring my blanket up. Some blanket progress to share. And then I'll finish off with a little bit of shop news, which is just basically some information about what's coming up. Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's what we're having in this episode. Apologies if the lighting is a bit crazy in this episode. We've taken the curtains down in this room because they were the blackout curtains that needed to go back into the boys' bedroom. We switched the rooms anyway. But now we've had daylight savings, the boys need the blackout curtains back in their bedroom. And we haven't got round to replacing the curtains here. So although I've got blinds on this window, it's much more noticeable when the sun keeps going in and out of the clouds at the moment. So yeah, apologies if the lighting is a bit all over the place. Right, where should we start? Announcements. Let's start with some make-along winners, shall we? The Giddy Yarns Make-Along is our current ongoing make-along, which is running continuously. And basically any project that uses at least 50% of my yarn, so 50% of Giddy Yarns, can be entered to win prizes. And you just enter it in as and when, and I draw quarterly prizes. And the first prize draw for this year was at the end of March. I left the thread open quite a little bit longer than that because I was joining in with the kind of logging out of Ravelry in support of those people affected by accessibility issues. So I logged out of Ravelry at the end of March and have only just logged back in again to kind of pick the prize winners. So you've got a few extra days in this quarter. Right, so I drew prize winners. My show notes are down underneath the camera, which is why I'm looking down that way. So what I have done with prize winners this time is I've drawn 2 prize winners, and what you are going to win is your choice of a skein of yarn from the dye to order section of my website. So basically you can pick from my Little Women collection, my Bedtime Stories collection, my Flower Fairies collection, my Winnie the Pooh collection, and also a few other new colourways that have been added to that section recently. So there's a few of the Nostalgia Club colourways that are heading in there at the moment. So basically I'll let you know who's won, and then if you get in contact with me and we can work out what colourway you would like, what base you would like it on, and I will dye it up for you and get it shipped out to you. I really can't talk this week. I'm sorry, I'm out of practice from podcasting. You wouldn't think so because I'm currently doing daily vlogs, so I'm talking to the camera a lot. But then maybe I'm talking to the camera in a kind of a more relaxed, less formal sitting down podcast kind of way. So my words are just not coming out properly. Right, winners. So I drew winners from Instagram, Ravelry and Mighty Networks, although nobody entered on Mighty Networks, so that made life a lot easier. But they are the 3 places that you can enter in the future. So there is a Ravelry group with the Ravelry group with the thread in the Ravelry group. You can enter by using the topics, by linking your post to the topic of the Giddy Yarns Make Along in the Mighty Networks group. And you can also enter on Instagram by using the hashtag GiddyYarnsFO. So we had 5 entries on Instagram. So what I did is it was posts number 88 to 100 on Ravelry, and then I allocated 101, 102, 103, 104, 105 to the Instagram posts, and then drew a number using a random number generator. So the first winner was post number 104, who was an Instagram post, and that was Little Knitter Happy Eater. And you knit some socks using my Grandma's Christmas Tree self-striping colourway. So congratulations to you. Just drop me a message either on Ravelry, on Instagram or via email, and we will work out your prize. And then the second winner was from the Ravelry group, and that was Sheila Knits on Ravelry. And she had knit her daughter, I believe, a fantastic set of hat and mitts using my Winnie the Pooh minis. So that's really lovely. So yeah, both of you, congratulations, and just get in touch and I will sort out those prizes with you. I am very aware that I have yet to send out the physical prizes for the February Make Along. So huge apologies for that. I am going to get them out. They are on my desk. They are ready to go. And when I package up the orders from this weekend, they will be going out with that. And I will pop in a few little extras as well to apologise for the wait. Right, so that's the Make Along. I'm going to have a slurp of tea and then we'll move on to the giveaway. That tea is a really good temperature. So we have had a very generous offer for a giveaway. In fact, I've actually had 2 very generous giveaway offers. The first one I'm going to do here, and then the other one I will actually be doing during the April vlogs. So the first one is a fantastic pattern prize from Sophie, who is the host of A Spring Snowflake podcast over on YouTube. And she has designed a fantastic Tunisian crochet scrappy blanket. So it's called the Radiating Squares blanket, and it's very much like a Cozy Memories blanket, so like the knitted mitered square blankets, but using Tunisian crochet. And it sounds like, I mean, it looks gorgeous, but it also sounds like a really good pattern because it says that she's got videos in there for kind of step-by-step kind of bits, and it looks like there's a lot of support in there. So it's a good pattern for anyone that's new to I can't say that sentence. new to Tunisian crochet, as well as people who are more familiar with the craft. So thank you very much, Sophie. And I'm just going to open this up as a giveaway. So if you would like to enter and you would like to be in with a chance of winning the pattern, I'll pop a picture of the pattern up on the screen, actually. I probably will have already done that while I'm talking to you. You can do so by I'm just going to run it on YouTube. So in your comment down below, make sure you use the word Tunisian, and I will put that on the screen as well so that you can see it. And I will draw a winner from YouTube and get Sophie to send you the pattern. The pattern is currently available to purchase on PayHip, so I will link to that down below. And if you want to just go and support Sophie and buy the pattern anyway, then feel free, because it's definitely a gorgeous pattern. Right, let's get into some knitting, shall we? Nearly 11 minutes in and I've not talked about any knitting yet. Finished objects. Right, I'm going to put my show notes back down. Try not to jog the camera too much. Show notes. No, what am I talking about? Finished objects. Goodness me. I don't want to put my cup of tea down because it's really nice. I have finished a pair of socks. So these are the stripy socks that I was knitting for the March entry for Sharon of SCR1 TNO Knitting Project Podcast's stripy sock cal. I've mentioned this on the podcast a number of times, but Sharon is running a stripy sock cal with different dyers allocated to each month for bonus entries. So you can knit any pair of stripy socks you want and enter them into any month. But if you use the dyers for that month or the commercial yarns for that month, then you get bonus entries. I'm waving these around, aren't I? I'll just cover up my face with them. So March was a number of dyers, but one of the dyers was Desert Vista Dye Works, and I had been very, very kindly gifted, I guess is the term really, very kindly gifted this skein of Desert Vista Dye Works earlier this year by a lovely viewer of this podcast, and I was so glad to get these cast on and knit up so quickly. I'm so glad this colourway hasn't just hidden in my stash for ages, because it is gorgeous. It's such a fantastic kind of rainbow, isn't it? The colourway is called Sun Ripened Grapes. It's just a merino nylon, and I knit very simple vanilla socks with it, but I absolutely love them. These are going to get squirreled away in my box of socks, ready to be opened in December. But yeah, I am so pleased to have got these knit up. So that is my finished object. And for, what was I trying to say? For April, I can't remember who all the dyers are for April, unfortunately. I should have double checked before I recorded. But I know that I am one of them. So you can knit, to get double entries into the knit along, you could obviously use my self-striping yarn, but Sharon has also said that you can use scraps or minis as long as they're striped. So you could make scrappy socks using one of my mini bundles or something like that. And as long as you've kind of created your own stripes, then that would be perfectly fine and that would count as well. So yeah, there we go. One pair of socks finished. That is the only finished object I have got to share with you this week, unfortunately. But I do have some works in progress that have had a decent amount of progress on. So we will start with living in my lovely, I nearly dropped it. My lovely bag from Gemma, the little grey girl, is my campside cardie, which I have just cast the body off of. So I think last time I shared this, I had finished a sleeve because I decided to pick it up and knit a sleeve before I finished the body. I'm just trying to get it into a position to show it to you because it's a bit difficult. So yeah, I think I'd finished the sleeve and then I decided to work down and finish the body, and that is what I've done. So I cast the body off this morning and it looks to be a decent length on me. I obviously haven't blocked this yet, and I'm kind of expecting a bit of growth with blocking just because of the nature of the pattern and the yarn, but that's fine. I don't mind if it goes a bit long. That's not a problem. If it covers my bum, brilliant. So it should be a decent length on me. It's definitely not going to be too short, which is perfect. But yeah, it's coming along. So all I need to do now is the second sleeve, which I have actually just picked the stitches up. So I haven't picked the stitches up. I've just put the stitches, the held stitches are now on the needles, ready for me to start that sleeve. And then it also has like a button band and a collar as well that go round. Although it's an open fronted cardigan, so I'm not actually going to be putting buttonholes or anything like that on the button band. It's just going to be a ribbed band which goes all the way round. But it's coming on and I am so excited to get this done. I really, really want to wear it. And yeah, can I get it done this month? What do we think? Could I get this done in April? The sleeve shouldn't take me long. The other sleeve didn't take me long at all. The button bands might take me a little while because it's going to be quite a lot of stitches, but then it's not that many rows, is it, really? A couple of inches. I don't know how wide the button bands are. Can I get this done this month? Fingers crossed. That would be brilliant because I do have plans to cast on another garment. I really want to cast on. I say random aside. Let's have a random aside. Why not? So I have booked on to attend the Lay Family Yarn Wool Lay Retreat in December, which was completely out of the blue and unexpected. But a group of friends of mine had booked onto it and they'd booked an Airbnb and they had space in their Airbnb. So I just thought on the off chance I'd have a quick look on the website and see if there were still spaces for the December retreat, and there were. And I sort of said to Tom, look, it's in December. You'll be all right with the kids. They'll be at school. It's a weekend. So he was like, yeah, of course, no worries, no worries. So I booked. So I'm going. Anyway, so we're all talking about making love notes to wear at the retreat, which would be really fun. I have said that I cannot promise I'll ever get one finished in time, but I am contemplating casting one on. I'm trying to decide between a few of my colourways. I'm tempted by doing it in Neptune, which is one of my Nostalgia Club colourways. It's a really, really kind of bright, vivid turquoise tonal blue. I'll pop a picture up. Or doing it in my Eeyore colourway, which is kind of like a grey with some blues and pinky bits kind of mixed into it. And again, I'll pop a picture up. So I'm really, really tempted to do it in one of those bases. I'm thinking of just doing it with fingering weight held double. I don't want to use mohair with it because I won't wear a garment made with mohair. But that is my plan. I need to get this finished first, obviously, but I really want to cast on a love note as well with one of those colourways. I'll dye some up in the next few weeks and make a decision. Right, let's move on to more works in progress, shall we, before I get completely distracted. Let's try and tidy some things up as we go as well, so that I don't have too much chaos after the podcast. So the next thing I have been working on is my little blanket squares from the Henny Penny Makes Colour Therapy Yarn Club. You'll have seen these. I'm trying to remember where I've put everything. So you'll have seen the January one. So basically, Erin of Henny Penny Makes is doing what she's calling her Colour Therapy Club. She's a trained colour therapist, and each month she's producing a kind of colour themed pack. This was the January one. I'm getting the scrappy pack, so you get 10 5-gram mini skeins in the scrappy packs, and I'm making a stitch in time blanket. Using 9 of the colours from each pack to make a little block and then adding to it. I was talking to Tom the other day, and I think what I might do is do like some extra blocks as well to make a bigger blanket. But these will be the basis of the blanket. So that is the first one from January, which was the pink one. Is it January or February? No, I think it was January, yeah. And each month you get a little information sheet with some kind of colour therapy details as well. And then the one that I have finished is the February one, which was reds. So I say I've finished. I haven't bordered it, but I have finished the actual square, the actual block. So again, I'll need to border this similarly to the way I've bordered the other one. but that is the next one kind of ready to go. And then I've kind of started, but I haven't really started, the next lot, which are orange. But I thought I would share the actual minis because it's kind of a yarny goodness, but I've already kind of started using them, so I can't actually share them as yarny goodness. But these are all the oranges for the next month's block. So I'm going to enjoy kind of putting those together. I think what I'm going to do, because I think I want to make the blanket bigger than 12 blocks. So although I've bordered this one, I don't think I'm going to border the next one yet, because I think what I'm thinking of doing is having these 12 blocks, but then in between each one having like maybe a solid, or maybe I just do another pink one that goes, so we have 2 pink ones and 2 red ones, or yeah, I'm kind of tempted to do a solid, just a giant mitered square that goes in between and is also bordered and then breaks up the individual ones. Anyway, I think what I need to do is make all the blocks and then make a decision based on the size. So I'm not going to border this yet because otherwise I won't know quite how thick to do the borders. So we'll see as it goes on, and as I get a bit more of a feel for the size, I'll be able to kind of have a think about how I might want to join them and whether I might want to do something extra to increase the size of the blanket completely. I hope that makes sense. I have also cast on a few new things because it wouldn't be me if I didn't get distracted by pretty things. Right, I'm going to drink this tea though before it goes too cold. So I mentioned in the last episode, I believe, that some friends of ours were having a baby and that I wanted to cast on a baby vertebrae, and I'd picked the colourway. And I have cast it on. And I've actually done quite a bit of it because I'm knitting, I believe I'm knitting the 3 to 6 month size. So this is the colourway I picked. This is my Beth colourway. I love this colourway so much. It is one of my absolute favourites. This was actually a contender for my love note, but I'm not 100% sure that this colour suits my skin tone. I think it would wash me out. I don't know. What do you reckon? Could I wear a garment in this colour or not? Definitely know some people that could really pull it off, but I'm not sure I could. Anyway, this is where I'm at with the little baby vertebrae. I have finished the body. And yeah, I just love how this colourway is knit up. It is so, so pretty. I feel like I'm tooting my own horn saying how pretty it is, but you know, when you just sometimes you just have a colourway that comes out and you just fall in love with it, and you just, yeah, I love it so much. So this is where I'm at. So I've knit the body of it, and I've just literally picked up and done like 1 row of the sleeve. So that's kind of the goal, is to get the sleeves, and then it has, again, similarly to the campsite cardie, it has buttonless button band, just a ribbed kind of front ribbed bit and neck thing. So it's a very open fronted cardigan for a baby, which is brilliant because yeah, the back kind of should come down over the baby's bum, but the front doesn't have like a front, so when baby's sick a lot, which they are, it's really easy to change, and it's a really easy sort of just layer to get on and off. So yeah, they're brilliant for new babies. And as I said, I think I'm knitting the 3 to 6 month size. And they had their baby a couple of weeks ago, or last week, 1 or 2 weeks ago. It's very new. So I've got some time to get this finished and sent off to them before it will fit. So yeah, that's the baby vertebrae. And that is a pattern by, I've written it down in the previous week. Let me check. No, I haven't written it down in the previous week. I think, is it Kelly Van Nykirk is the name of the pattern designer. I can't quite remember, but it will be linked down below in the show notes. So you'll definitely be able to find it there. Then I've also cast on, kind of cast on, a pair of socks. My next pair of socks is going to be the picnic socks by Helen Stewart, which is part of the Handmade Sock Society for this year. That kind of collection of patterns, but I thought it would work very well with the yarn. So this is the yarn that I have picked. This is, what is this? This is Faded Christmas. I need to get the little thing out. Is it Faded Christmas? Yes, Faded Christmas by Erin of Henny Penny Makes. And this is going to be those socks. I thought the real variegated nature of this, the picnic blanket socks are relatively simple. They've got just like a ruched, 3 little ruched sections in the leg, and then the rest of them are vanilla socks. And I thought that might work quite well with this kind of quite busy yarn. I haven't cast on a lot, so there's not really much to show you. I've literally started the rib of one of the socks, and I haven't even finished the rib. I've got that far, so not a lot to share really. But I did want to talk about the bag that I'm using. As you'll know, if you've watched the podcast, I have been rambling on recently about knitting socks 2 at a time, or sort of knitting socks concurrently, and them getting tangled up in my bag. And a couple of things that have come out of me commenting about that. So first of all, I had an absolutely lovely gift in the post from a viewer who sent me this bag. Now this bag is one that she said she had it was her bag, but she'd didn't use it very often, wasn't getting on very well with it. So she thought she would pass it on to me because it was the kind of thing that I was talking about. It's a fantastic size. It's just a simple drawstring bag. This one is by Gibby Sews. I don't know if you can quite see that. And it's got, so inside the bag, let me roll the top down slightly. So inside the bag are 2 sections, divided by a little notions pouch, which is really handy. And it is solid all the way at the bottom, so nothing can get from kind of one side to the other. But it means that you can put one of your socks in one side and one of the socks in the other side, and they don't get tangled up. And if you're knitting colour work, it's actually got little loops, which I can't get hold of, little loops here, which just popper, and you can actually thread your yarn through those loops to help guide if you're knitting colour work. I guess I could do the same with my socks, but I do tend to take my socks out of the bag and just kind of put the bag to one side while I'm working on them one at a time. But yeah, that is brilliant. And this one's a really good size. So I have put it in use, and I don't think that Gibby Rousseau's has any in stock at the moment, but a few people have said that they tend to take custom orders quite happily. So if you were interested and wanted to get in touch, then do it and ask, see whether they can do you something. And then very, very kind of shortly before this arrived, I also ordered a bag from Quince Pie on Etsy. Because they came up quite a lot in when I was mentioning it. A number of people of you found this company on Etsy and pointed me in their direction. So I thought I would order a bag to give it a try. I haven't tried it out properly yet, but it's a very similar idea. It's a smaller bag, so there isn't as much room to get 2 pairs of socks in there, which is my only kind of little thing at the moment. You know, when it's designed for kind of 2 at a time socks, there is less room in it. It also only has a drawstring on one side, so I think this will loosen up with extra use, but I find it quite difficult to seal at the moment. But I think as it kind of softens, that won't be such a problem. But yeah, it's a very similar bag. If I, again, just fold down the top, you can see it's got that same idea with the little notions pouch in the centre and 2 sections, one section on either side. And then this one has just got kind of little clips that you can kind of clip your yarn through if you're knitting colour work, or if you want to keep your yarn attached to your bag. So yeah, 2 companies that do 2 at a time sock bags, Quince Pie on Etsy and Gibby Rousseau's, and I will make sure I link both of those in the show notes for anyone else who is fed up of their yarn getting tangled when they're knitting 2 at a time. Right, what else? Crochet Dragon. I have cast on a crochet dragon. I mentioned a while ago, did I mention it on the podcast or have I only mentioned it on the vlogs? I don't know. I've definitely mentioned Dungeons and Dragons on the podcast. So as you'll know, I have become quite a fan of Dungeons and Dragons over the last few weeks, having joined with a crafty group. And also now my brother has also set us up a campaign with his girlfriend and me and Tom. So I've got 2 games on the go and it's brilliant and I love it and I'm obsessed. But the crafty group that I'm part of were all crocheting dragons as like little mascots. We call ourselves the crafty dragons. So dragons were the perfect little mascots. And I have finally picked my yarn and I have finally cast on a crochet dragon. Now, if you've been watching a while, you'll know that amigurumi is not something that comes naturally to me. I am very new to it. I have made a little amigurumi cat. I've forgotten what the name of the pattern's called. We call it Captain Cat. The boys have it. They call it Captain Cat. But I can't for the life of me remember what the name of the proper pattern was called. And I've also crocheted a little Pikmin character that again the boys still absolutely love, but it was not, I did that one during Vlogmas and it was not my best piece of work. But I picked this book up a while ago. This is Unicorns and Dragons and More, Fantasy Amigurumi from Meteor Books. And I'm crocheting this one here. This is Koji the baby dragon. And this is where I've got to. It's not far. Well, let's start with the yarn. So this is the yarn. If you've been watching my April vlogs, you'll know that I did a little vote in the April vlogs and got you all to kind of help me choose which yarn I'm using. So this is DK yarn from Kate Celine and it's the colourway I think was called Christmas Tree. And look, this is where I'm at. So I have crocheted up, I think this is the top of its head. And I think this here is the start of the shaping for his nose. If I can find him in the book, you can kind of see in the one of the pictures, she says, not being able to. Yeah, so you can kind of see in this picture here that his nose kind of comes out a bit. So I think this is kind of the shaping for his nose. So his eyes will be just kind of there. So this is the front of his face. And it's going all right. I am very impressed with the book. I will definitely say that. So the book I think is going to be fantastic for beginners as well. I mean, there's more complicated ones. Koji is a 1-star skill level. So he's very much the beginner level, which is why I picked that one over the other dragon, which is kind of this one here. I mean, you can see all the different patterns available, but yeah, I picked Koji because he was a simpler dragon, which is what I need. But one of the things that I've been really impressed with is that all the stitches are included in the book, but they also all have little QR codes with links to video tutorials. So if you don't know the stitches, if you're new like me and you get very confused between American and British and what's a treble and what's a double and all of this kind of stuff, and even things as simple as like increasing and decreasing, this has taught me a new way to decrease, which is like a more invisible decrease, which is brilliant because I used to just do it by skipping a stitch and then having a little gap. And yeah, so this so far, I mean, obviously I've not finished the project, so I can't say it's brilliant because I haven't finished it through, but so far I am finding this a very simple pattern to follow, which, considering my skills at reading crochet patterns are very, very minimal and it's all very new to me, I think is a very positive thing. So yes, Koji the baby dragon is well on his way to having a head. But I think he's going to look really, really fun. I just need to pick out some yarn colours that are going to kind of contrast enough with this to make his other bits, to kind of make his tummy and his nails and his spikes. But I think that should be okay. I should have a fair, I'm thinking I might see if I've got some, I can get some hot pink or something to do the spikes down his back. I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that is my new crochet cast on, and I'm actually really excited about it. And I kind of just want to sit and do it for ages. I have to give myself breaks though, because my hands aren't used to crocheting amigurumi. Right, have I got anything else? That's new cast-ons. Blanket progress. I was just going to share a short bit of blanket progress. I've not made masses of progress, but I am pretty much done, very nearly. So I am crocheting a blanket. This is what I'm calling my advent blanket. I've just found Lego in my blanket basket. Can tell I've got kids, can't you? I am crocheting a blanket using the Henny Penny Makes advent calendar for 2020. And this is where we're at so far. So I've done 4 squares of each colour chronologically through the advent calendar, and then added them on in rows. And I am very nearly done. So these are the final squares. So these 4 are already bordered, and then these 4 just need bordering, and then I can join them together and add them to the blanket, and that will be the final row. I can't find where they go. They go at this end. That will be the final row. And then I think all I'm going to do is a few rounds of just granny stitch around the outside to just kind of finish it off. And then it's going to be a really, really good lap blanket size, which is fantastic. So this was a 20-gram advent calendar. And I've used, so I got 4 squares out of each 20-gram mini. And then just there was usually a little bit left over, which I've kind of turned into a magic knot ball. So this magic knot ball is the entire leftovers from this advent calendar. And actually I should weigh it to see, because that would be really interesting, wouldn't it, to know how much I've actually got left over after making this blanket. It doesn't feel as heavy as a 100-gram ball. It'd be interesting to see. Anyway, what was I going to say? Yeah, so this is something that I would definitely do again with a 20-gram advent calendar. It's making a really nice sized lap blanket for the sofa. I'm showing you the back, but yeah, definitely something to consider with 20-gram advent calendars. And I really do love the way that this has come out. So I'm hoping to get this finished in the next couple of weeks. It's not much work really to just sit and border a few squares and add them together. But you know, there's so many projects and only so little time. So yeah, that is my blanket. Right, once I finish that blanket, I've got to decide though, haven't I, which blanket I work on next. There's quite a few and lots of decisions to make. So I was just going to finish off with a quick shop news chat. There's nothing really to show you, but I wanted to talk about advent calendars because I will be launching the pre-orders for my advent calendars next weekend. So Saturday the 17th of April, I will be launching the pre-orders at 8 p.m. And so my advent calendar for this year is, as I've mentioned before, the theme for the advent calendar is The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe. And as you can see, I have all the colourways all planned out already. And we will be doing, I say we, I'm the only one. I will be doing the colourways chronologically, and what you will get is a little information sheet that goes in the advent calendar that will tell you, like, chapter 1 is colourways 1, 2 and 3, chapter 2 is colourways 3, 4, chapter 4 is colourway, I don't know that that's accurate at all, but you'll know, so what you'll be able to do if you want to is read along with the advent calendar. So you could read the first chapter and you'd know that these colourways related to that chapter specifically. And that's kind of how I plan to put the colourways in order in the advent calendar, because I just think that's a really fun idea, that you'd be able to read the book if you fancied it. It's a very common book. You'd be able to pick it up from the library. If you might even have a copy already. If you don't have a copy, then libraries will definitely have copies, and obviously it'll be available from all good bookstores. But I just thought that would be really fun to kind of read along during Advent with the book. Obviously, you don't have to if you don't want to. You'll still get the same enjoyment from the colourways as we go through anyway. So what am I offering it as? I will be offering it as 10 gram, so sock weight, there'll be 10 gram or 20 gram. And then I'm also going to offer 20 gram DK. So you just choose your option when you order. I will be offering payment plans. So there'll be the option to purchase the Advent in full, or there'll be the option to pay with the payment plan. The payment plan will be 50% plus shipping up front. And all the shipping will be tracked and insured. So what will you get in the Advent calendar? So you get 24 mini skeins, all individually wrapped and numbered, as well as the information sheet, which will let you know which colourways, how many chapters. So like colourways 1 to 4 are in chapter 1, basically. So it'll let you know which chapters the colourways relate to. And then you'll also get 3 postcards from Jessie of Eclectic Erudite, who has also done our art image, our cover art image for the Advent calendar, which I will pop up there. She has done that, but she has also designed us 3 fantastic postcards. You'll know of Jessie if you've been following my podcast for any time, because I've had a number of her postcards recently, which I've shared on the podcast. But she has done 3 amazing postcards that will be included in the Advent, just as a little gift to you. And then I'm also going to add, a bit like my treat boxes, you'll get a sachet of hot chocolate, a sweet treat, and then I'm also going to include some progress keepers sort of themed around the book as well. Yeah, I think that's everything that's going in the box. They'll be packaged as normal, just in the same kind of boxes that I use for my treat boxes, so just a standard kind of packaged box, mostly so I can keep the costs down, because the fancy boxes add quite a significant amount to the cost of the Advent calendar. So for a 10 gram Advent, it's going to be £75, I think, and for a 20 gram Advent, regardless of whether it's 4-ply or DK, it's going to be £110. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Did I say, well, I said about the payment plans, didn't I? 50% plus shipping up front, and then it will be a 25% in July, 25% in August. They will ship in October, and that's everything, I think, that I've remembered to say about them. Goodness knows. If you've got any questions, let me know. I don't at the moment have a maximum number, so they shouldn't sell out like that. It doesn't tend to work like that for me with Advent calendars. Obviously, if they are very popular, then I do have like a maximum number in my head that I can't go beyond, because otherwise I won't get them done. But I won't be listing a certain number. I won't be tracking the inventory as I list them. So they shouldn't sell out. It will just be up to me to go, oh my goodness, nobody's ordered, or oh my goodness, so many people have ordered, I need to close them. Right. What else? That was it. That's it. Clubs were the only other thing I was going to say, is that clubs are still open to pre-order until the 15th. So you've got the Marvellous Minis Club and the Once Upon a Yarn Club are both still open for pre-orders for this month. But I'm starting to lose my voice and my tea's going cold. And yeah, it's Sunday, so I'm going to go and knit. Thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you all very soon, hopefully. Hopefully it won't be 3 weeks before another podcast comes out. Yeah, see you soon. Bye.